Okay, let's jump right in. Today we're doing a deep dive into a really fascinating piece of ancient wisdom literature. We're focusing on Proverbs chapter 12.
Mm-hmm. And Proverbs, it's famous for the style, these sharp contrasts, really practical advice packed into short sayings.
Right, very punchy.
Exactly. And chapter 12 specifically, it's just packed with these comparisons. It lays out different choices, different kinds of characters side by side. Our mission here is to sort of unpack these contrasts and see what they might offer you, what insights we can pull out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it starts off strong, right from the beginning. No messing around.
Yeah.
Verse 1 says, whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates correction is stupid.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't pull any punches, does it? It makes
Yeah.
this really direct link. Loving discipline, wanting to be corrected,
Mhm.
that's tied straight to gaining knowledge.
It seems pretty fundamental. Like your attitude towards being wrong dictates whether you can even learn. I think that's spot on. It's not just about accepting correction. It says loving discipline. That suggests, a kind of humility, right?
Yeah.
A real desire to grow and hating it. Well, the text says that points towards maybe pride or just being closed off, which stops learning in its tracks.
So it's about characters shaping your ability to get smarter, essentially.
Definitely. And then it moves pretty quickly into how we interact with each other.
Yeah.
Especially with words.
Oh, yeah. The tongue gets a lot of attention in Proverbs 12. There's that really vivid line, reckless words pierce like a sword.
But the tongue of the wise brings healing. Yeah, that comparison is so powerful.
It really makes you think about the actual impact. Words aren't just air. They do things.
Exactly. They can wound, really wound, like a weapon. Or they can actually soothe, heal, restore things. And it makes you wonder, how often do you stop and think, are my words potentially piercing someone right now?
Or could they be healing?
Or could they be healing? Yeah. And it contrasts truthfulness, too, right? Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue.
Last only a moment. So truth isn't just like morally good. It's actually presented as more stable, more lasting.
That seems to be the idea. Deceit is temporary, truth holds up.
Then the chapter kind of broadens out, looking at bigger life paths, you could say, that talks about the righteous being rooted stable, cannot be uprooted, while the wicked just get wiped out, overthrown, and are no more.
Right. And it connects that stability to things like planning justly, whereas the wicked are deceitful in their counsel. It's like cause and effect.
And there's that very practical bit about work, too.
Oh, yeah, the diligence versus laziness contrast. Diligent hands will rule.
But lazy hands will be put to forced labor. That's pretty stark. It links hard work directly to autonomy, to freedom, really.
It does. It suggests your work ethic has real-world consequences for your position in life. It's almost an economic observation embedded in there.
There's also that verse about treating animals. It seems like a small detail at first. A righteous person regards the life of his animal, but even the kindest acts of the wicked are cruel. What's that getting at?
Well, I think it suggests your core character, your inner nature. It just filters into everything you do, even seemingly small things. For the righteous person, care and concern just naturally extend outward. But for the wicked, even something that looks kind on the surface might have a cruel or, self-serving motive underneath.
So you can't really fake it, even in small actions. Your true self comes out.
That seems to be the implication. It permeates everything.
And speaking of what comes out, there's that contrast about handling knowledge, knowing when not to speak.
Right. The prudent man keeps his knowledge to himself.
But the heart of fools blurts out folly.
Yeah.
So wisdom isn't always about showing what you know.
Exactly. Sometimes it's about discernment, knowing when to share, how to share, or if silence is actually the wiser path. The fool just spills everything, often showing their own lack of judgment.
Okay, so looking back at this whole chapter, this deep dive into Proverbs 12, the big pattern is definitely this constant comparing and contrasting.
Absolutely. It keeps putting two ways in front of you. Wisdom versus folly, righteousness versus wickedness, hard work versus laziness, truth versus lies.
Yeah, and it's not subtle about the results, is it? It clearly shows where each path tends to lead. Very different outcomes.
Very different. We saw it right from the start with loving discipline, then the power of words, that sword versus healing image, the stability of the righteous, the practical outcome of diligence.
Even down to how you treat an animal reflecting your core self.
Right. So maybe the thought to leave you with is this. As you think about these contrasts from Proverbs 12, which ones really strike a chord with you? Which ones seem most relevant when you look around at the world or even in your own life today?
What might that tell you about how timeless some of this ancient wisdom actually is? Something to mull over.